Plus, there's even more, I think. But I'm going to get right into this story from earlier in the week. It's no secret that Microsoft had a huge amount of layoffs earlier in the year, and now I don't know if these have been conducted yet, but yeah, I'm just gonna read this story directly from the article, but it's oh, you know what? Hold on, hold on 1 second. Website properties. Here we go. Okay. Microsoft closes Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, and Alpha Dog Games. This is by Bryant Francis, a senior editor over at GameDeveloper.com. Microsoft is making many high-level cuts at the ZeniMax branch of Xbox Game Studios. And for anyone who doesn't know, ZeniMax is the parent company of places like Bethesda and everything under Bethesda. Today, the company emailed employees, today meaning this is actually from the 7th, so this was actually from 2 days ago. But so keep that in mind as I'm reading this. Today, the company emailed employees to let them know that it is closing Redfall developer Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, and Mighty Doom developer Alpha Dog Games. Wisconsin area developer Roundhouse Studios, which has served as a support studio to other arms of ZeniMax, will also be absorbed into the Elder Scrolls Online developer ZeniMax Online Studios. Word of these closures comes from IGN, which revealed an email sent by Xbox Game Studios boss Matt Booty to staff early this morning. Tango Gameworks has confirmed on Twitter that it is ceasing operations. Yeah. Just right out of nowhere. Just a short and simple. Today it was announced that Tango Gameworks will close. Thank you to everyone that explored the worlds we created. Hi-Fi Rush, along with Tango's previous titles, will remain available and playable everywhere they are today. How fucking depressing. Who said this? Matt Booty wrote in his email. These changes are grounded in prioritizing high-impact titles and further investing in Bethesda's portfolio of blockbuster games and beloved worlds, which we have nurtured over many decades. Booty wrote in his email, adding that in order to double down on these franchises, Xbox Game Studios needed to look across the business identity. Look across the business to identify, the opportunities that are best positioned for success. An Xbox spokesperson confirmed the legitimacy of Booty's email, but declined to provide any further comment. Not all employees across the shuttered studios will be losing their jobs. Some employees at Arcane Austin will be offered positions elsewhere in Xbox Game Studios. Booty said impacted employees were notified by email early this morning. Xbox employees are paying the price for poor decisions by studio leaders. I'm going to continue reading this because this is just kind of going over a bunch of stuff. There's an update. Oh, no, never mind. That was a different update. Anyway, it continues. Xbox employees are paying the price for decisions made by studio leaders. As with Microsoft's January layoffs of 1,900 workers, Many across the recently acquired Activision Blizzard, the impacted employees are paying the price for business decisions made by people way above their pay grade. Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass focused strategy doesn't appear to be earning the returns investors had hoped for, meaning titles like Redfall and Hi-Fi Rush may not be providing as strong a return on investment as investors would have liked. Since its launch, growth on the service has not appeared to line up with Microsoft's projections. Some market analysis has also indicated subscription services like Game Pass are eating into sales of games released on the service. I'm going to stop there for a second, because part of me believed that I never actually said this, and I wish I did so that I could back up what I'm saying now, but I've always been, maybe I have said this before, but I've always been worried about how Game Pass could be profitable, because they will spend millions trying to secure games for the platform. But then it's like, but how much of that are you getting back? Now that's per major third-party games. Like, hold on. Let me see if I can find an article about this. Trying to think. I think it was during the proceedings from the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Let me hold on. Let me try searching Microsoft Game Pass acquisition spending. News. Here we go. So this is from September. This is gamesindustry.biz. This is Sophie McAvoy. So this is going back to September 20th, 2023. Leaked Microsoft documents have revealed that the estimated costs of putting third-party games on Xbox Game Pass, as reported by Kotaku, an internal email exchange in May 2022 between Microsoft's VP of Gaming Business Development Sarah Bond and Xbox head Phil Spencer, showcased how it would cost to bring titles like Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Mortal Kombat 1 to the service. Now, skipping ahead to where that actually is, Star Wars Jedi Survivor had the highest estimated cost at $300 million. Bond described acquiring the title as a crown jewel for Game Pass, but noted that EA was unlikely to agree to a deal. $300 million. And Jedi Survivor is on Game Pass. So if that number is correct, they did pay $300 million. And that's just one AAA title. Gotham Knights, $50 million. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, $35 million. Who knows how many more? Yeah, here we go. Here's a whole list of them. Right here. A full list of estimates. Now, these are estimates. I don't think these are confirmed numbers, but this was released. This was a story from back in September. 35 million, 50 million. City Skylines 2. Jedi Survivor, $300 million. Suicide Squad, $250 million. Grand Theft Auto, $12 to $15 million per month. I forget where I'm going with this. Oh, right. Continuing the article from before, the one from a couple days ago. Since its launch, growth on the service has not appeared to line up with Microsoft's projections. Some market analysis has also indicated subscription services like Game Pass are eating into sales of games released on the service. So when Xbox has these first-party titles, are they actually losing money having them on Game Pass? That's what this sounds like. It's not unfair to say that Shuttered Studios continuing. It's not unfair to say that Shuttered Studios, Arcane Austin, and Tango Gameworks were struggling with recent output, but that's not the fault of the people losing their jobs today. Reporting on the development of Redfall indicated that studio management's zeal for making a live service game led to high turnover and precarious investment in a genre the studio did not have prior design or technical experience in. Not to mention that they didn't even want to work on something like that, which led to that high turnover. No one wanted to make that game. Well, at least by the sounds of it, a lot of people didn't want to work on that game. And I don't blame them. That's not their bread and butter. It's third-person action games set in the DC universe, particularly Batman. Continuing once again, the admission of mismanagement even came from head of Xbox Phil Spencer, who indicated his team should have intervened sooner after Microsoft finished its acquisition of ZeniMax. Hold on, I mixed up Redfall with Suicide Squad. Excuse me. What was I saying? Making a live service game. Live service is not their bread and butter. The genre of that Redfall was going to be mechanically, I think, is. But I didn't play Redfall, so don't quote me on that. Anyway. An admission of mismanagement even came from head of Xbox Phil Spencer, who indicated his team should have intervened sooner after Microsoft finished its acquisition of ZeniMax. And while Tango Gameworks' Hi-Fi Rush launched to huge critical praise, attracted 3 million players, and helped springboard Xbox Game Studios' 2024 multi-platform expansion, the studio's most recently released games, Ghostwire Tokyo and The Evil Within 2, don't appear to have been major commercial successes, though both have become cult classics. However, it should be said Xbox seemed plenty happy with performance of Hi-Fi Rush last year when Vice President of Games Marketing Aaron Greenberg tweeted that the game was a breakout hit and that the company couldn't be happier with Tango Gameworks. And I'll show you that tweet because it's still there, I think. It sure is. Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. Cut to today, 2 days after this article came out. Microsoft says it needs games like Hi-Fi Rush the day after killing its studio. This is Ash Parrish over at The Verge. Today, one day after Microsoft announced that it would... this was from yesterday, by the way. Today, one day, not even 2 days, the next day, one day after Microsoft announced that it would shut down 4 of its game studios, Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, held a town hall to discuss the division's future goals. He said, quote, "We need some smaller games that give us prestige and awards," Booty told employees, according to internal remarks shared with The Verge. For some listeners on the call, it was a surprising goal. Microsoft had just shut down the Japanese developer Tango Gameworks, which was coming off the small, prestigious hit title Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush, which was a surprise release last year, was praised for its innovation and charm. The rhythm action game featured music from the Black Keys and Nine Inch Nails, with an art style that evoked the hyper-stylized games of the PS2 era. Just 4 months after its release, Hi-Fi Rush hit 3 million players. During the 2023-2024 awards season, the game went on to win a Game Award, Game Developers Choice Award, and a BAFTA. Not to mention that down here, they even wrote that it was also nominated for a DICE Award. I think it was nominated for a handful of other ones. But a GDC Award and a BAFTA. While Microsoft hasn't shared sales data, it was apparently happy with the game. When rumors swirled that it wasn't doing well commercially, Aaron Greenberg, vice president of Xbox Games Marketing, wrote on Twitter, I refuse to call it X, that Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. By all accounts, including Microsoft's own, Tango Gameworks made a hit and something wholly unlike anything it's made before. Before Hi-Fi Rush, Tango Gameworks was known exclusively for its survival horror games, including the Evil Within series and Ghostwire Tokyo. In an interview with Kinda Funny Games, Xbox head Phil Spencer spoke about how important it was for Xbox to allow studios to make games outside their comfort zones. He said, quote, "I want to give the teams the creative platform to go and push their ability, push their expectations." Hi-Fi Rush also represented Microsoft's commitment to bringing Japanese exclusives to the console. In an interview with Game Watch, a Japanese video game media outlet, Spencer praised Hi-Fi Rush for its high quality and said that players could expect to see more AAA titles from Japan, evoking the days when Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon were both exclusives on the Xbox 360. He continued, "While there are titles we can't announce yet, we are currently developing new games in collaboration with Japanese companies." And he said that in a 2023 interview in Japan. It's worth wondering if that's still the plan now now that Tango is shut down. It's just so frustrating because this is such a it's just such a 180, because they said they want to make more games like this and that it's important to them as a company, but then they closed Tango, who released like easily one of their biggest and most popular smaller budget games. Like, I don't get it. Like everyone, like so many people are baffled by this and frustrated by this. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Not to mention that today even news came out that hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Shit. I didn't save the link. Hold on a second. Maybe it's in the newsletter. Let me pull this up really quick. Gamesindustry.biz. Damn, I really thought it would be in here. In the GI Biz Daily newsletter. But there is a story in here. Hold on. ZeniMax on studio closures. I think we were about to topple over. Hold on. This is new. This is Sophie. This was today. This is Sophie McAvoy over at GI Biz. Whoops. A ZeniMax executive has reportedly said Xbox's closure of 4 studios this week was due to a lack of staff and support. As reported by Bloomberg, head of ZeniMax Jill Braff reportedly said during a town hall meeting on Wednesday it was hard to support the studios globally, quote, with a lean central team, unquote, and various projects in the works. "I think we were about to topple over," Braff said. Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty allegedly added that the decision to close the 4 studios was to free up resources elsewhere, according to Bloomberg. The publication also reported that Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin were in the process of pitching new projects, which required more staff. These were reportedly a sequel to Hi-Fi Rush, so we were going to get another one, and a new single-player immersive sim game from Arcane. You know, their bread and butter, the things that made made them successful in the first place. Excuse me. This was suggested to be a factor in both closures. So not only did they move forward with closing both of those studios, but didn't greenlight. And of course, they probably didn't have the money to greenlight those projects because they just spent $70 fucking billion buying Activision Blizzard. Industry consolidation is bad. Because when they run out of money from all these acquisitions, where does the funding come from? Cutting the workers' jobs. The people who are making the money at these studios to begin with. It's just so infuriating. Why are developers always the ones who are punished for everyone else's poor decisions? Meanwhile, Bobby Kotick gets what was it? A $365 million golden parachute, which, by the way, would have funded both of those studios. Both of those studios at the headcount that they were at for 17 and a half years. Let me see if I can find this again. Bobby Kotick golden parachute. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. This is Ethan Taylor over on Twitter. The $375 million Microsoft paid out to known dog scum, Bobby Kotick, could pay for the estimated salaries of both Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks employees combined for the next 17 and a half years. Take that with a grain of salt because I don't know where he's actually getting those numbers from. Who is this? He's probably right. 17 and a half years. The golden parachute that they gave Bobby Kotick, who everyone fucking hates, $375 million would have paid for the estimated salaries of both of those studios for the next 17 and a half years. That's fucking infuriating, dude. The industry's hurting, but you know who the only people who are actually hurt by it are the ones making the fucking games that made you all that money to begin with. I'm just so sick of all of these layoffs, man. All right, I think I got the venting out. But yeah, it just sucks so much, man. There were a couple other stories that I wanted to talk about, but I think that was really the main one I wanted to talk about. There was the Sony backtracks on the unpopular Helldivers 2 move. But it's like, there's really not much to talk about there. It's just a feature that existed when Helldivers 2 launched, wasn't working properly, so they opted to just remove it. Temporarily. Once it was fixed, they put it back in. They made an announcement that it was going back in. Everyone was fucking pissed by that. Or everyone was, pissed off about that. And then the game got review bombed. And then Sony was like, okay, maybe that's a bad idea. So now they're removing that requirement. There is also the caveat that the game released in countries that the PlayStation Network just isn't in. So the people who are playing it there would then have to make an account for a service that isn't available there. Which is, I don't know how that happened, but still, they reversed it, so it's like, okay, let's move on now. There was also EA's Q4 of fiscal year 23, but that's boring numbers stuff. Okay. Well, I'm going to cut off there. So if you're watching this video on YouTube later on, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.